Today we're going to discuss solving more linear equations. We're going to see a few different varieties of them, some involving some quadratics and some involving fractions. Let's go ahead and give it a try. For this example, we're going to review the concept of distribution and make sure you know how to do that. So I want you to go ahead and hit pause now, attempt the problem, and then check back in to see if your answer matches 9. Okay, so let's see how you did. We're going to distribute both of our constants, so the 2 and the 3. And when we distribute, we get 2x minus 6 plus 3x plus 6 is equal to 0. We now want to combine like terms, so I'm going to combine our constants and also combine our variables. When we do that, we have 5x is equal to 0. The 6 is going to cancel. And then we divide both sides by 5 to finish getting x by itself. And the only answer we get here is x is equal to 0. That's our final answer. Alright, here's another similar problem. We're going to have to solve using distribution. Again, go ahead and hit pause, try out the problem, and then check back in to see my solution. Alright, let's see how we did. So we have the same idea as the last problem. I'm going to distribute first, distribute the 4 and the 5. And when you do, you get 4x plus 32 plus 5x minus 5 is equal to 6. Same idea as before, we're going to combine our variables and we'll also combine our constant terms. So when I combine the x's, I get 9x, and then when I combine my constants, I get 27. I'm going to go ahead and subtract 27 on both sides now, giving me 9x is equal to a negative 21. And finally divide both sides by 9. Giving me my answer. So x is going to equal negative 21 over 9. Now the directions here said just to solve, so we did. You could simplify this if you wanted to. Both could be divided by 3. And if we divide both sides by 3, then we get negative 7 over 3, which is another solution. Alright, this is an extra problem for practice. If you want to go ahead and try this one, you can. Or you can go ahead and fast forward past this one. If you want to try it, hit pause now and go ahead and try the problem and check back in to see the solution. If you go ahead and go through the process of distributing and combining like terms, you solve for the problem and you get that r is equal to 0. Here we have something that's a little bit more challenging. We have a bunch of variables involved here, and when we go through this you'll find out we have some quadratics in our equation. But the section is linear equations, so even though we have quadratics, they will somehow have to cancel. So let's go ahead and talk about this one. We distribute the x, and if we do, then we get 2x squared plus x minus 2x minus 2, and that's going to equal 2x squared minus 2x. Looking at our equation, you notice that you have a 2x squared on both sides. If I subtracted 2x on one side, it would cancel out with the 1 on the other side, so they're going to cancel. I also have a negative 2x on both sides. If I added 2x to both sides, then they would cancel out. And I will be left with x minus 2 is equal to 0. So now it's something simple to solve. Add 2 to both sides, and we get the final answer, x is equal to 2. Here's a different problem involving quadratics. Now we're going to have to distribute here. And I want to kind of caution here of the 4 minus x squared. This is not going to equal 16 minus x squared. That exponent, the squared, means that we have 2 4 minus x's. So when you see that, I'd recommend that you would write it as 4 minus x times another 4 minus x. This way we have to practice distributing. For our left side, we're going to end up getting x squared minus 2x plus 3x minus 6, and on the right side, 16 minus 4x plus x squared. Again, our chapter deals with linear equations, so our x squared should cancel out. And notice that we have a positive x squared on both sides, which means it's definitely going to cancel out. At this point, I'm going to kind of clean things up. On my left side, I have 2 x values. When I combine those, I get a positive x minus 6. And on the right side, I also have 2 x values. So when I combine those, I get a negative 8x. At this point, I now want to try and combine like terms across the equation. So I'm going to add 8x to both sides. And in the same step, I'm also going to be adding 6 to both sides. So I'm going to get my x's on one side and my constants on the other side. So once I've done that, I have 9x is equal to 22. Solving for x, we get x is equal to 22 divided by 9. And that's our answer. And now we have some fractions. Generally, your first step when you have fractions is to cross multiply. So multiply the 2 times the 3, giving us 6. And we're going to multiply 5 times x, which gives us 5x. And then our next step simply is to divide both sides by 5, giving me an answer of 6 over 5 is equal to x. Simple enough. So now we step it up a notch and make it slightly more challenging. We're going to have to distribute when we cross multiply here. We'll start with our first one, 2 times x, giving us 2x. And then I also have to cross multiply 5 times x plus 1, which will give me 5x plus x. Sorry, 5x plus 5. I now want to combine like terms, so I'm going to subtract 5x on both sides, giving me negative 3x is equal to 5. And I can finish solving this by dividing by negative 3, giving me x equals negative 5 over 3. Alright, your turn. I want you to go ahead and hit pause, attempt this problem, and then check back in to see how you've done. Once again, our first step is going to be to cross multiply. So we're going to multiply 3 times 5 minus x, giving me 15 minus 3x. And then we're going to multiply 4 times 2x, which will give me 8x. I'm going to combine like terms, so I'm going to move my negative 3x over by adding it to both sides. And if I add 3x, then I get 15 is equal to 11x. And then finally I'm going to divide by 11 to get x by itself, giving me a final answer of 15 over 11 is equal to x. Alright, here's our last example. I want you guys to go ahead and try this. Hit pause now, and then check back in to see how you've done. Just like with the last two examples, our first step here is to cross multiply. So we multiply x plus 1 times 4, which will give us 4x plus 4. And then we're also going to cross multiply 2x plus 3 times 3, which gives me 6x plus 9. I'm going to combine like terms, so I'm going to subtract 4x on both sides, giving me 4 is equal to 2x plus 9. Then I'm going to subtract 9 on both sides to finish getting my x by, or to continue getting x by itself. If I subtract 9, then I get negative 5 is equal to 2x. And then last but not least, divide both sides by 2, which gives me negative 5 over 2 is equal to x, and that is my final answer. Okay, that completes the notes for now. I want you to go ahead and move on to the book and attempt the homework problems.